Hi everyone, this is Ritu Wadhwani and welcome to my very first podcast. I think I think I'll call it the Ritu Podcast Show. Oh, here we go. I just named it right here, right now. So my very first guest today is a very good friend of mine, Kavisha Bhairani. Kavisha, say hi.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, so what we're going to do today is just talk about each other, know about each other a little bit here for all of you here. And then what we want to do is talk about an amazing book called The Atomic Habits. I'm sure everybody has heard the name of that book. Most of you, I'm hoping, have read it as well. But what we're trying to do here is, talk about the book and how it has influenced our lives and life. So without further ado, let's get started. I'll switch it over to Kavisha, and she will just Kavisha, if you can introduce yourself a little bit for my viewers here, and then we'll get right into our book.
Absolutely, Ritu. Thanks for having me here. So I'm Kavisha Behrani, originally from Delhi, India, and I've been in US for about close to 8.5 years now. I have two beautiful daughters, age 6 and 8, and then my husband works in the tech industry. So that's a small family here. I work with one of the top banks. Um, And I think the reason I'm here, me and Ritu know each other for quite a while now. And the reason I'm here, I guess, is Ritu knows that I'm a voracious reader. So we decided that we're going to pick up a book which will be of very much interest to all of you. And we'll start from there. Layer by layer, we'll try to peel it off based on our experiences. And then we'll go from there.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Kavisha, for the introduction. And yeah, for my viewers, I just want to let them know that, like Kavisha said, we've known each other for maybe a few years now. And the first time that I had met Kavisha, I had always found that connection with her because she's a very, like she herself said, a voracious reader, a very intelligent and a sharp person, and very and interesting to talk to. When a lot of people are sharp and intelligent and are voracious readers, but maybe not all of them are ready to share their knowledge and ready to be open to what they think, their perspective, not just about the book, but also about life and many other things. So thank you, Kavisha, for coming and, kickstarting my podcast here. And I'm really excited about it. So let's go right into the book here. I want to know, like, what initially drew you to Atomic Habits, and why do you think it's such an influential book in the area of personal development?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ritu. And I was thinking about it, right? What motivated me to pick up this book? But I guess you know, I had heard a lot about James Clear and his book, and it was on my list for a long time. I had read some other books on habit forming, but none of them clung to me the way this one did. So I guess I picked up on a fly, having learned about it and heard about it from some friends. And even though you see it's a big fat book, but I don't think so. I took more than a few days to wrap it up. Uh, it's such a intriguing book. It just takes you layer by layer into the details, and how even if you are not a very disciplined person, and if you're not a very goal oriented person, still how with certain tiny steps you can achieve the biggest of goals that you set for yourself. I think that was the initial uh, thing that started deviated me towards this book. And once you start, and then there is no keeping it back.
Yeah,
uh,
I agree, Kavisha. I have, like you said, I have also read this book, and I did not take a long time to finish it. But it's like you said, it's an amazing book. And what I feel about this book is, it's just really gets into the psyche of make what can make or
yeah.
break. It like really uh, layer by layer it goes and tells you why it's so difficult to to get a new habit into action, and how you can do it slowly, gradually, and what are the things. So I'll let you explain more about it in our next segment, which is I believe key concepts and insights about the book. So just in a few minutes, Kavisha, can you tell our viewers what were the key concepts that you took away and the insight that you took away from the book?
Yeah, absolutely, Ritu. So I think the beauty of this book is, as I mentioned previously, that you don't have to be at a certain level in your life to be able to understand this, or to be able to adhere to the rules that are mentioned here, right? It's so easy. The author James Clear, he breaks it up at that level that anybody can, start from anywhere. And the name Atomic, right? Atomic Habits. I think it's a very well thought out name. Atomic means the smallest part of, smallest part of anything, and then habits is something that we do consistently. The main theme behind this whole book is, that you have to be consistent. Consistency brings a magic that no amount of hard work or no amount of talent can ever bring in. And I think this distinction in itself is so profound, so that it makes you believe that you don't have to be inherently talented or inherently hardworking to be able to achieve something in your life. No, he just breaks up this concept that you don't have to be either of those. You can be a very simple, very average person. Just rely upon the discipline of consistency and see the magic that unfolds ahead of you. As they say, consistency compounds. And
Correct.
I think that's the basic premise of this book, that
Yeah.
wherever you are, whatever life stage, life phase, financial phase, wherever you are, at whatever spot you are in your life right now, pick it up, follow the principles which are very basic, very foundational, and start from there.
Yeah, like it's never too late to change yourself, transform yourself. Anybody can just pick up this book and start from where they are, and consistency. So, okay, I think that's you put it very briefly, and it's just the essence of the book that you just mentioned right now, Kavisha. Thank you
Yeah.
for
And to your point, right, Ritu, what are the other key concepts? I think this couple of other key concepts that I'd like to call out for our viewers is that, he clearly mentioned, I mean, none of this is my thought, but I have lived these principles ever since I, read this book, that there are certain things, our life in general for all of us is pretty much an autopilot, right? We wake up at the same time, almost every day. We wake up at the same time. We eat the same food, we do our savings, investments, our shopping, almost everything in the same manner. This is for us to realize that our lives run on a very much autopilot mode. Once it is set, without realizing, it is on its mode. Every day is same like the day before because our routines are set up. Now
right.
where the author tells us is that, if you realize that you are an autopilot, right, which is the truth of our life, because if we were not on autopilot, life would be very difficult. Every day trying to do something different, it will become very, very difficult for us. So
Yeah.
certain routines are set as a rhythm in our minds, and
Mm-hmm.
unknowingly, we end up repeating the same thing over and over and over again. That's why all of us are where we are today, because of our routines. So what author tries to tell us, during this book, is that once you realize that you are an autopilot, why don't you design your environment? Now, don't be a victim of your environment, right? Be the architect of your environment.
Exactly.
Change your environment, and anyways, at the back of your mind that it's going to be an autopilot. So autopilot mode will run itself. What you can do is that you can change your environment. You can just, you can design it the way you want, and then let it run on autopilot without you realizing it. You will start seeing the results, because now it's not that you are, it's not that you are again in a BAU environment. No, now you've designed something, something as small as, if I have to talk it out with some example, let's say you want to reduce your weight, let's say you have a goal in 2024 for reducing 20
Mo-
pounds. And I'm sure, Ritu, you can very much relate to it, right? We've spoken
And
about it many a time.
right now, I think can relate to this very habit that everybody wants to inculcate is to be healthy and keep healthy and fit. So yeah, keep going.
Absolutely. So let's say we have a goal, right, which we girls always have, right, to reduce certain pounds, regardless of whatever our current weight is. So let's say we plan to reduce, 20 pounds. Then the
Yeah.
first thing that you need to do is, you need to take out all those cookies and creams and the cheese and, anything that you think distracts you from your cupboards, from your pantries. You need to take them out. If you plan to
That,
start going to any,
that's creating environment around you that you.
exactly, you are now not going by default. Now you are creating that environment, designing it on purpose, so that when you are hungry, right, and you open your pantry, you will not find those cookies there, those high calorie snacks there. What you
Yeah.
will find is probably, something which is low in calories, something that you on purpose have kept there, because you know that there will be a time when you will be very hungry, you will have that craving, and then you will jump in towards that pantry. And the moment you open it, you know what is inside. And our mind is not able to differentiate between this snack or that snack. All that the mind knows is that it's hungry. The body is hungry. That's the
Yes.
cue. It's
Yeah.
we who put in, the bad stuff there, the high calorie stuff there, and that's body just knows that it's hungry. Whether you give it some high protein snack or high fat snack, right? It cannot differentiate. But we need to design that environment for ourselves.
Totally agree with you. And that comes to the next part of it, which is that creates an identity for ourselves, right? Our identity.
Exactly.
We identify that by we identify being that person who will not allow those snacks in our environment, or or not reach out to that snack that is unhealthy for us, correct?
Yeah.
But you gave an example which is, I think, identifiable and relatable to everyone. But can you give me just some other because I know
Yeah.
this example is done and a lot of people already talk about it and read about it, and still they are not able to so just give me another example that you can think, which you yourself have used.
Absolutely, Ritu. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So I'll give you guys another examples which most of you can relate to, right? Another example is, let's say you decide to start working out, which all of us should do, right? Regardless of whatever weight or height or whatever, everybody should aim to everybody should strive to work out, because as the age progresses, none of us is getting younger. So let's say you plan to start your gym tomorrow. I am telling you, I have tried it multiple times. Plans never work unless you have designed a system for that. The
Yeah.
only days where I'm going to hit the gym, or I'm able to hit the gym successfully, are the days wherein the night before I have planned my dress, everything right on spot, and I'll iron it and I'll keep it on my table, so that when it's morning, when you are still, me being an exception, I don't struggle waking up, but most of the people do, right? When there's a struggle waking up in the morning, and then you're rushing in your cupboard to find the, attire to wear, and then look for shoes, the motivation is dead there. Now there is no motivation, because first thing, you'll not find something that goes well along with, a top and bottom, and then another few minutes and you are done. Maybe you will drag, it's 1st January or 2nd January, you're very high on motivation. Maybe for a day or two you will drag, but unless you set up the system, 100% we are bound to fail few days down in the journey. And
Let me
Ritu, that brings me to a very, very strong another distinction of this book that James Clear very clearly pointed out is, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. And believe me, this is easier said than done, but it is such a strong, powerful distinction once you realize that no matter how strong your motivation is, ultimately it will run out. Every day you can't get up motivated. So stop relying upon your motivation. It is BS. What you need to rely upon is the systems that you create for yourself. And the system says that I'm going to work out every day, let's say for 30 minutes. Um, that's it. I don't have any goal. Okay, goal of 20, losing 20 pounds is just giving me a direction, nothing more than that. But the
mm,
system that you set up, right, that okay, I have a goal of 20 pounds, just have it at the back of your mind somewhere and forget about it now focus on creating the process and the systems. So the process or the system, as you want to call it, says that I'm just going to work out 30 minutes a day. That's it. I'm just going to avoid eating fatty food. That's it. There is no strong motivation needed for that, because if you don't create those systems, there'll be days when you have zero motivation or very low motivation, and then you'll end up skipping your plan of going to gym, right? One.
great
Yeah.
question, Kavisha, because we all will not all days will be the same. We will have the days where we are motivated and we're going to stick to our routine and do what we had planned ahead that we're going to do. But then there will be days that we wouldn't do that. It's not. It could be that we're not motivated enough. Maybe it's life circumstances. Maybe it's holiday time, or it could be anything, and we wouldn't be the same person what that we were not the same person, but we will not be in the same state of mind, so to say, that we were yesterday or day before. So if that, first of all, has that happened to you? And when it did, how did you overcome that and come back to what you had decided? And how did the book made an impact on that?
Absolutely, Ritu. So, as I said, right, these examples that I quoted are very much from real life, and I live them on a day to day basis. I know that if I am not planned, so your morning doesn't start from the morning, right? Your morning starts from the night before. And why do we say that? Because if you don't, if you, they say, right, if you fail to plan, you are basically planning to fail. And there is truth,
Mm,
these,
that's
there is truth in
right.
this, because that's what it is. Life is all about planning. You need to plan, because planning will always, come prior to you taking action. So if you
Mhm.
have set up everything, your clothes are set, all your meals are set, coming to meals, right? Again, I'm bringing up these examples because I know each and every one of us, regardless of our gender, age, can relate to these examples. Let's say you plan to eat certain amount of food during the day. Now you say that, in the lunch, I'm going to have one chapati with sabzi. But unless you've made that lunch, kept it ready, right? Once lunch comes and once you're hungry, you're famished, you don't even think about that, right? The first thing you do is, and I have done that. Most
Yeah.
of the time I've done that. I'll, log into DoorDash, order something. Why? Because my system has failed me. If system failing means that I don't have my lunch ready, if I have my dabba ready, my lunch ready, then that's where I lean towards, right? Because it is ready. So you can't wait for that time to come wherein you are expected to take action. That time you can't plan. That time you can't get into action, because now you have failed the system. The
Mm,
idea behind this book is to create systems much in advance, and you don't rely upon anything else. Don't rely upon any motivation. Motivation will eventually fail you. Rely upon the systems that you create. So when you are famished, when you are hungry, you have your lunch ready, and that's where you lean towards.
yes, yes. And just to tell my viewers that this book is not about losing weight or keeping fit. These are just the examples that
Examples that we are picking up here.
those are the two that I believe I didn't relates to everyone, each and everyone who's watching this. And but this book says it could be any habit in the entire world that you want to do. You can it tells you step by step how, first of all, how it's created, what's the psyche behind it, how our body and mind works when it's trying to create a new habit. And it will tell you the things, and like Kavisha just mentioned, the system environment uh, to build around you to be able to help you to get to build that habit. So thank you, Kavisha. I think that was a great insight into the book, and amazing, real life examples that will help the people understand what this book is all about and how they can use it for themselves if they want to. And I'm sure, what's your recommendation? What do you want to tell people if they're still thinking about picking up that book from the rack and start reading it?
Yeah, yeah. I'll say, that this is one of the best books. And this is coming from a person who on an average reads about 50 to 60 books per year. On an average, I'm saying, despite of my demanding job and my, young kids and everything, because I love reading. So coming from that person, I say this is one of the most profound books you will ever read in your life. um, Mainly because it doesn't tell you what to do, it tells you how to do it. And if three things I could tell you that you could take away from this podcast regarding this book, is that first thing is that you need to create systems. And I'll repeat that line again, that you don't ever rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
Mhm.
Writing down any goal that you want to run a full marathon. Let's say, you have that goal. You can't do it just by writing the goal, right? You have to break it down into steps, and then you have to create a system around it, that every morning, 6 a.m., I'm going to run these many miles. And then that is the system. Now you are not waiting for any motivation, because there'll be days you will wake up without any motivation. So keep the motivation out of this equation. I read it somewhere, Ritu, and I love this line that said that 99% of us, right, we look for motivation to take action. And that 1% who are really successful, highly successful, do the other way around. They take action and the motivation follows. And that's such a profound truth in this statement. You can try for yourself. Days when you don't want to work out, or days you don't want to eat healthy, or days you have another goal, running, anything, you don't want to do that. Just trick your mind into it. I'm just going to hit the road for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll just wear my gym attire and be in gym, just show, touch, and come back. Try that. Your mind is such a beautiful thing that once you are there, right, you've taken the action. Now the motivation will follow you. So
Yeah.
I think this is something that anybody can do. Don't wait for motivation, because motivation is a bad thing to go after. So as I said, three things I'm going to give you from this book that you should take away. One is that create the systems. Second is design your environment. Don't be a victim of your environment. Be the architect of your environment. Keep those things that you want again and again at a hand's distance. For example, good eating, gym clothes, or anything else. I'm just quoting these examples because these are the most pertinent and the most common that each of
Mhm.
us deal with. Whatever you want, keep it at a very close distance. And what you don't want, keep it, hide it somewhere. Hide those high calorie food somewhere behind the last the last layer of your fridge, so that it's not visible to you. What is not visible, you will not reach out for that. And what is visible, by default you will reach out to it for it every time.
Mm.
Make it difficult for you to go after things that you don't want. That is called designing your environment. you
Right.
know and the last thing is that consistency. The whole premise of this book is based on consistency compounds. Consistency simple means you don't have to do, it's no rocket science, right? Same actions repeated over and over and over again, and the magic appears. You may not see the magic in the first day, second day, third day. Give it few weeks and the magic will start appearing. And once you see the magic, that is what will give you the momentum to continue to go on. So
Yeah,
I think
and see, not only here, it's a concept that works in every aspect of our lives, whether it's friendships, relationships, investments. Um, like we said, consistency compounds. So yeah, I totally resonate with that, and thank you for breaking this book so closely for my viewers. And I'm sure once they hear our podcast, they will go and reach out for this book and read it. And even if they don't, I think we have broken it down for them to use
I agree.
instead of the book.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like we said, atomic habits, go little by little consistently, and you will definitely get where you want to be. So yeah,
absolutely. And no better time for this podcast than now, Ritu, when we are heading towards a new year. I'm sure people have a lot of resolutions.
think it came right on time, right before a few days before we jump into this brand new year that's coming up our way. So yeah, thank you so much for doing this. It's on a crispy Friday morning for me here. I This is not the first time viewers Kavisha is going to be on the show, because I'm sure you all will agree that she's amazing, and a very she has a deep perspective, not only on books but also in life, and we all can learn from her. So Kavisha, thank you so much for coming today, and I really want you to invite I want to invite you again to discuss another amazing book, or not even a book, maybe just life, and that'll be
Absolutely, Ritu. My pleasure. And I hope your viewers love this session, love this first series of your podcast. And, we keep bringing more reviews and more books.
much for doing this. And I want to tell everybody that's this is my first ever podcast, and I'm so glad and grateful that you were the first guest on it, because I really think that you are someone who people can really learn from, and absorb from, and you're the person who is ready to bring this out to people in a very gracious way, and which is very less known in these days. But thank you again, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Have
Ritu.
a very good nice day, and yeah, we will talk again. And this is Ritu signing off until we come here with another amazing guest and talk about not books, maybe life. Bye bye.
Thank you.